Spoilers, you have been warned. Hi, my name is Daniel, and this is my movie review of Avengers Infinity War. Now, I've got to say, I was not expecting Avengers to be as good as it was. Now, the coolest thing that I believe MCU did in this film is that they made Thanos, the villain, the protagonist of the film. Now, why would Thanos be the protagonist of the film, you might ask? Well, it's because most of the film is focused on him and he experienced the greatest character growth from beginning to end. His main goal is to wipe out half of the universe in order to save the other half. Now, as crazy as that sounds, Thanos reasonable has a reasonable background to reinforce this goal of his. His planet, called Titan, is a ruin during the events of Infinity War. Now, the reason this thriving civilization became a ruin is, according to Thanos, because of overpopulation. Thanos suggested that they wipe out half the planet so that the other half could survive. Of course, his government ignored them, but they were destroyed as we see in the film. Thanos takes this to be a sign that he was right and that it was his mission to bring this to the rest of the universe. Now let's analyze this. Thanos is not a villain in the sense that he just wants to destroy for destruction's sake. No, I argue that he is a naturalist of sorts. His desire, or maybe even a humanist or an alienist in some sense, his desire is to save the species, to save a planet. However, the way he goes about it, I believe, is what makes him villainous. To him, it's okay to wipe out half the planet so that the other half can survive. It's a very naturalistic way of thinking, sacrificing some for the sake of the species as a whole. It reminds me a bit of Dr. Mann when he speaks of sacrificing the others, the current generation, for the sake of of humanity's future. However, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the Avengers, who are also humanists. To them, saving humanity is very important. They have sacrificed much to ensure that humanity can survive. They have laid down their dreams so that the others can survive. However, to them, there's one caveat. To them, it is not okay to sacrifice half the universe for the sake of the other half. There's a great line in the film where Vision, one of the keepers of the six Infinity Stones that Thanos is looking for, where Vision is saying, "Destroy me, destroy the stone in my forehead so that Thanos cannot have his way." To this, Captain America responds that we don't trade lives, in essence stating that it was not okay to sacrifice Vision for the sake of stopping Thanos. However, a few minutes later into the film, well, like 30 minutes later into the film, Vision tells Scarlet Witch, his lover, to destroy the stone to save humanity. Now, what's the difference, one may ask? The difference is that the Avengers did everything they could to save their friend Vision. However, when push came to shove and they had to choose between saving the world and saving their loved one, the Avengers made the choice to sacrifice one of their own for the sake of humanity. In terms of the psychological connection and the film techniques the movie used, this movie has done a really, really good job. For one thing, the filmmakers have been preparing this film using affective connection for nearly 10 years in preparation for this film. How did they accomplish this? Well, through the countless Marvel movies they have released on individual heroes that were all a part of this film. Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man. Each of these films in their own right helped build empathy between the filmmakers, the characters, and the audience members, and it was quite effective. I remember this one part where Iron Man nearly eats it, where he nearly buys the farm, and I remember thinking, anyone but him. And shortly after, there's no way they're gonna kill him. Thankfully, he survives. I won't explain how, but the fact that I felt worried about a character, a fictional character, so deeply proves that Marvel did a great job at building up empathy over the years through films such as Iron Man 2, 1, 2, and 3. In terms of cinematic techniques, I remember this one tracking shot near the beginning of the film where the Avengers, I believe it was Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and a couple others, they were just standing in Doctor Strange's office so to speak. And they're just standing still, listening to this wind. It took me a moment to realize what they were, why. I remember asking, why are they standing still? And as the picks up, they realize that something's happening. There's a tracking shot right behind Iron Man's shoulder as he walks out of the building and he's onto the streets and he begins to see the wind, like almost like hurricane winds, affecting the rest of the city. A car crashes feet in front of him, but he keeps walking after calling for help. And all this time, we see him walking towards this corner. And when he turns the corner, then we see this giant donuts of doom that houses Thanos' minions ready to lay waste to the city to find one of the Infinity Stones. Now, this entire sequence is different from almost every other Avenger movie I've seen in that the filmmakers took time to use perceptual identification to build up tension in the story. And that I believe that's the moment in the film where I was really sucked into the movie because for the first time in a superhero movie, I felt like I was there on the ground right next to Tony Stark as he was about to go fight the bad guys, so to speak. I think one of the biggest questions the film asks is it okay to pursue something that is good at any cost? And I believe the answer the film leaves us with is no. No, there are some things, even if it's very good, that is not okay to destroy or to take, even if it's for the sake of a very good cause. I remember reflecting myself about this question after the film ended, and I remember searching through parts of my life for where I was maybe sacrificing something in the name of doing something good. And I believe this question is a question that the movie landed on very, very well. Now, there's much more I want to talk about, and the film just talk about it for hours. However, we are short on time, so thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a good day.